Hi Founder fans, Jason here, and today's founder is Lyman Hall, the first representative of Georgia to attend the Second Continental Congress. But let's back up real quick. Lyman Hall was actually from Connecticut, where he was a preacher. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like his congregation really cared for his preaching style, so he ends up studying medicine and shortly thereafter relocating to South Carolina. He goes to South Carolina, joins a community of former New Englanders, and after a little while, that whole community decides to relocate as a group to Georgia. And it is in Georgia where Lyman Hall kind of escalates his career to become one of the most important members of this community of emigrated Yankees to end up in Georgia. Now, this is about the time the Revolutionary War starts to get a little bit of brewing, and Georgia does not want to participate. Georgia was very sparsely populated. It had only been a colony for about 40 years, so it was really hesitant to join any kind of resistance to Great Britain, except in certain parts where there were a lot of former Connecticut citizens living, like where Lyman Hall lived. Now, they didn't have counties then, they had parishes in Georgia, and Lyman Hall's parish decides we're going to select someone to go to this Second Continental Congress, because Georgia already missed the First Continental Congress, so they decided to send someone to the Second Continental Congress. And this is a good time to remind you that East and West Florida, and yes, there were two Floridas at the time, they were both also British colonies that were invited to go to the Continental Congress, and they didn't go. Also, Canada, but that's a kind of entirely different story. Georgia also sends no one, but Lyman Hall's community sends him. He goes all the way to Philadelphia, presents his credentials, and they say, we don't know. Now, here's the thing. Georgia had not sent anyone. Most of the other colonies, their provisional shadow revolutionary governments had sent representatives, but this was just a county sending someone. Now, almost right away, they said, you can definitely sit in on the meetings, but could you debate? Could you participate? The decision was made to, yes, let's let Lyman Hall participate. This seems to be largely because other colonies, most notably New York, their representatives were not sent by the provisional government. You have William Floyd down on Long Island, out in Suffolk County. Herring and Wisner were sent by the community of Orange. So because it had been a precedent of counties sending representatives instead of the provisional governments, they decide to accept Lyman Hall. And this is great, because once they accept Lyman Hall, the rest of Georgia says we should probably do something. And they send Button Gwinnett and George Walton to come also to Philadelphia and play catch-up at the Second Continental Congress. Shortly thereafter, the decision is made to be independent. Or should we? I don't know. So they decide to have a vote. Lyman Hall is the most aggressive one from Georgia to support independence. And in fact, he talks his other two representatives from Georgia to support independence. They vote for independence, and Lyman Hall is one of those three people who signs the Declaration of Independence representing Georgia. Now, Lyman Hall during the war ends up moving his family back to Connecticut, which was a very good idea because the British come through and they destroy his house. And if his family was there, wouldn't have been good. Luckily, after hostilities come to an end, Hall moves his family back down to Georgia. They are able to reestablish themselves there. He is a practicing physician, though he does have a modest plantation, I should note. And fortunately, right as Lyman Hall shows up, he's elected governor of Georgia. And he spends just one one-year term as governor of Georgia. While he's in this position, he helps transition from revolutionary state to independent nation, more or less, as I love to say here, under the Articles of Confederation. Georgia thought it was its own country. They all thought they were their own countries, and Lyman Hall was commander-in-chief of that little nation there. While he does, his most notable thing is actually helping to get the funding and the commission for the University of Georgia, which still exists today, though there were other people helping to move and shake that particular thing. And Walton then retires to his farm. He passes away about 7 years later in 1790 at the age of 66. And that's the story of Lyman Hall, a signer of the Declaration of Independence, and really one of the guys who pushed Georgia to become one of the 13 states when, before Lyman Hall, it was 12. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like. That's the best thing you can do for this channel. If you're new here, subscribe. I put out videos every single morning about a different American founder. And don't forget, I'll be back with another founder tomorrow.